Remember Blau? Blau sold an NFT of his album back in February for $11.7 million, and now he's raised $16 million to launch a music investment platform that tokenizes music royalties. So stay with me here. The platform is going to be called Royal, and it's going to allow fans to buy ownership in songs and earn royalties from them. He explained that they're calling the tokens limited digital assets. So here's how it works. An artist would decide how many of their royalties they want to share. Then they would put those up for sale on Royal. And then fans would buy those royalties, hold on to them, make a profit off of them in the future, or sell them to other fans or back to the artist. So a lot going on here. Ben, I'm gonna kick this to you.
No.
Do you think what do you think of this? Because I immediately think of how the crypto industry has been working to disrupt the traditional record label model. It's not only the crypto industry that's disrupted that. We've seen streaming services kind of slide in there. What do you think of this? Do you think that it has a place in our future, or do you think it's a great idea that we'll see fizzle out?
I think I'm tired. This one got extremely meta for me, Jenna. Like before the show, I was like, hey, can you like tell me more about what the heck is going on here? It feels a little bit, maybe I'm not thinking of this, but like stocks or like DeFi for music royalties, which again, like is interesting in theory, but I'm also like LDAs, like limited digital assets, like NFTs, like what does this mean? And again, like, and when I talk about too many tokens, I'm like, do we need this? I think it's, again, an interesting idea, but I think that I'm tired. Naomi, what have you got on this one? Because I'm just not sure, again, like Microsoft, exactly what to think about it.
I love it. I love that Blau is doing this. So Royal has said that they have no plans in issuing securities. That was my biggest concern, because I was like, this clearly seems like you're buying, a percentage of someone's brand or someone's business if they're in the music industry. But he said that Royal has worked with former regulators to ensure that its LDAs will follow geographic rules. And so you can bet that it probably won't be available in the US, because nothing's available in the US because they ban everything. But they also say that artists can't use Royal to fundraise for unreleased songs, he said. Letting them do so could change the categorization of the asset, which is interesting. But one thing I didn't realize that was specific to the music industry is that owning master recording rights and music today is not treated as a security. So, tokenizing that, dividing that up and selling that to people in this decentralized model, it seems that they're not actually carving up securities and selling them. So that's interesting. So he added, putting that on the blockchain, people will have opinions about that, but people can buy, trade, and sell royalty rights today as non-securities in the real world. So that's what makes this super interesting to me and makes me think that it has legs. And, as we already mentioned, there's so much need for this. The record label model at the moment is fizzling out. You've seen, as Jen, you mentioned, we've seen so many people coming in and trying to disrupt that. You have the Napster era, then you have the iTunes era, then you got the Spotify era, and all of these have really started to put pressure on this, centralized record label model where they really just control the artist completely. Obviously the artist gets perks from that. The record label in return is going to advertise for them, is going to do a tremendous amount of PR work, is going to promote them and build a career for them. But at the same time, it can be quite predatory. If you're dealing with people like this kind of unbalance of power. I'm always hesitant to go that route in rhetoric, because it's like at the end of the day, you're making a voluntary agreement. So, if you're at an imbalance of power and you're looking to benefit from these record labels, cool, make that choice. That's up to you. But this is something that completely changes the paradigm and says, perhaps you don't need to make those sort of sacrifices. Perhaps there's a way where you can live your life and maybe you won't see as much of the potential upside as like a centralized record label that has tremendous sway and tremendous power could do for you. But you may have more control over your music. You could potentially buy back your rights. Taylor Swift famously, because I got to bring her into the conversation, tried to buy back her masters. This was going to happen. And she couldn't do it. Either she didn't have the capital or it wasn't offered to her, before the sale of the recent sale. But this could be a scenario where artists could have more control over that and make it easier for them to, buy back their masters at the end of the day. But Zach, sorry, I'll throw to you for your thoughts there.
No, those are all good thoughts. I mean, I think with a little luck, they may have sort of threaded the needle to avoid like securities regulation. So they've like threaded the needle and like situated it like very precisely within existing songs, right? So that you can be like, oh, okay, like I'm going to invest in some artists that I care about because I think their fortunes are rising, and therefore whatever like share of that little sliver of royalty I'm entitled to will grow in value as the number of plays grow in value with that person's music. So like it's interesting to think about how you could use this to really vote with your feet and support the artists that you like. And also notably, I think like the fact that Fred Ursum and at Paradigm, Coinbase co-founder, very successful venture capital list at this point in time. He's joining the board of this thing after, you know, ponying up $7 million to invest in it. I think it's his only non-Coinbase board seat. So an interesting team behind this one for sure. So we're going to see what comes of the royal markets.